Well, hello. Come on in this here room. Come on in to the room. All right, y'all. Let's do this. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I am Jamika. I am the founder and executive director of the Hummingbird Project. So come on into this space where I am so excited to just celebrate 3 years officially as a 501c3. We have been doing the work for quite amount of years. I'm going to say almost over 12 years um, of doing this work of really standing in the gap and standing with those who have faced sexual violence, gender based violence, sex trafficking, sexual assault, um, and many other facets. But we're here. And we particularly focus on the Black community because the Black community is vastly affected. Marginalized communities are vastly affected. Beyond what the community's actual populations are. And so we look at those accounts and we focus in those areas. And so that's what we do. And we've been doing it for 3 years now. And so I have the privilege of being asked some questions that I don't know what the questions are. And I'm going to answer them because it could be things that you have thought about in regards to the Hummingbird Project, or you might have heard this topic and you're wondering, what are we talking about and why are we even talking about sex trafficking or sexual assault, and even how does it affect the Black community and if there are differences. So without further ado, I am going to hear these questions and answer them for you. Let's go.
Take us back to the beginning. What inspired the creation of the Hummingbird Project?
So, what inspired the creation of the Hummingbird Project? I hope this helps somebody that has an idea or a vision, and you're just like, where do I begin? I had been doing the work of anti trafficking work for many years, as I stated, and an opportunity came my way for funding. And someone approached me in my community. They had saw the work I was doing without being funded for years. And they said, I think you need to go after this funding round to really create your organization. And I did it. I applied within, I believe the grant was open for another 48 hours, and I applied. And I was not a 501c3 organization, but they gave an opportunity for you to become it within, I believe, that first year. It was a capacity building grant. And so I went after that funding. It was a federal grant, my first time going after a federal grant for the organization, and we actually got it. And so that's where we started 3 years ago, as of May 2009. Excuse me, as of May 9th, 3 years ago, we became officially designated a 501c3 organization.
What problem or gap did you see that you felt called to address?
The problem or gap that I felt that we would fit into, that we were called to address, was that there were large numbers of disparities of Black and Brown children, particularly in Connecticut, where I was from. And I was seeing national stats showing that they were disproportionately being trafficked, particularly. And I was like, why is that? And what are we doing about that? And how can we stop that? How can we curb that? And why is there this highlight on Black and Brown children being vastly affected by sex trafficking, and then also it's stemming over into adults being trafficked as well. And so that's the work that we do. We go into the gap to find out the why, but also to look at these different components that may affect us or might be overlooked even within our own communities.
Did you ever have moments where you doubted whether this mission would succeed?
Did I ever have moments where I doubted if we would succeed? All the time. Anytime that, where you have times where, unfortunately, people might go back to being in trafficking after you've helped and walked alongside them and supported them. And, they go back into the life, but recidivism is a real thing. And until I realize that we are just here to help and support somebody on their own journey of healing, then there's no real gauge of success to me. It's literally somebody's individual factor of what success is for them.
What did building a nonprofit from the ground up teach you?
Building a nonprofit from the ground up taught me how important it is to be inside of the work that you're working with. So I had to learn how to be an accountant, I'm not an accountant, but I had to learn bookkeeping. I had to learn operations. I had to learn programming. I had to learn every single role that I will eventually hire for or even contract for. Like I had to get some understanding of what it meant to be in those roles in order for us to be cohesively on the same page in the direction that our organization was being built to go.
Who did you originally set out to serve? And has that grown over time?
I originally set out to serve particularly African American women within Connecticut, and that has expanded vastly because the African diaspora is beyond African American women. A big piece that has our organization has grown into and has expanded to is Afro Latina communities. And the Afro Latina community, the biggest piece of that is the language barrier. There's a whole nother language dynamic that happens, which is predominantly Spanish. And then you have, even in Afro Latina communities, especially in Caribbean communities, you'll have not only Spanish speaking, but you'll also have patois, or you'll have different dialects. It has expanded our capacity to be able to learn more in depth how to serve people on the African diaspora at large.
Why is this mission so personal to you?
The mission is actually personal to me in the fact that not only do we work with those who have experienced sexual assault and sex trafficking, but it's personal to me in that I get asked many times if I am a survivor of trafficking, and I'm not. But I have a compassionate heart toward anybody who ever faced such victimization. I'm a woman, and I'm a Black woman, and I have experienced overcoming sexual molestation that I had not talked about for many years. And so there's so much in there that is me. And there's so much in there that is not me, but I can still relate to just as a person, as a human being.
Looking back, what made you realize it's bigger than us?
I realized this is bigger than us when I used to make statements that was a part of the anti-trafficking movements, like we're going to end trafficking. I was like, I I learned that I we probably won't. I'll just be honest. We'll be fighting at this, and the more you chip away, the more grow in a different area, the more that comes up in a different space, and it's bigger than what we think. And it won't stop us from combating and fighting trafficking, but I used to have a idea that I would one day see it end, and unfortunately, I don't believe that anymore.
Can you share a story that captures the heart of your?
Um, I had a Uber driver one day drive me somewhere, and the more we began to talk, and I shared what I do, the more she began to share with me some things that she has faced, and we became really good friends. And I'm going to say colleagues in the work to combat trafficking and sexual assault and just violence in general against women.
Who are the people, communities that believe in this vision?
So many people believe in this vision. Shout out to CSA Sexual, oh goodness, CSA Sisters, ending sexual assault for Black sisters and those in general, sisters of color. They are out of Connecticut. So many other colleagues that are connected with them, and uh, even the funding came from the Department of Health and Human Services. So somebody, even in politics, believed in the fact of culturally specific work being relevant and necessary to reach those most vulnerable. Um, those that were in the state of Connecticut, even at the legislative table, they saw the need for the Hummingbird Project. They partnered with us. They supported us. They gave us resources that we didn't have. Uh, there's so many I hope I'm not missing anybody, but so many. And even philanthropists, those who, just came alongside and wrote a check or gave a resource and didn't even ask for anything in return.
What role do donors, volunteers, and advocates play in your success?
Donors are pivotal in our success, and especially in this climate and time that we're living in. People are fighting over funds, and that's one thing that I really ask my God. I'm like, I don't want to do this work if I've got to fight to help those that I'm being called to serve. And when donors give funding, that's the hands and feet. That's the helping the work continue. When we receive federal funds and we apply, and there's always going to be more applicants that apply than funds available. Every little piece counts. Every single piece counts. Donors are vital in continuing the work.
What is your biggest dream for the Hummingbird Project's future?
My biggest dream is that the Hummingbird Project will go beyond me, that it's just a starting point and a launching point for others who have vision, who have ideas, and who have a calling to do the work that they're called to do. And so it's a launching pad for, there's so many even survivors that say like, hey, I want to do some work. And it might not even be in regards to being an advocate for being as a survivor. They're just like, I have a vision, and this organization has helped me see myself, and I'm going to do that vision. That's where I'm like, that's success to us. When hummingbirds pollinate, they bring literally nectar and nutrients to other plants all across the world and help pollinate those areas. And that's what my hope is that it'll do.
What would you say to the version of yourself who was just starting 3 years ago?
Okay, so this is our last question. What would I say to the version of myself that started 3 years ago? I would say, don't cry, girl. It's gonna be okay. Go to bed, girl. You have another 24 hours tomorrow. It's okay. People are going to come and align with you. They're not here today, but they will be along the journey. And I would also tell myself that you did a good job. That sometimes when you don't hear the stories, because we protect those who stand with us, we are not here to showcase their healing process. And so many times, people will ask me, we need some testimonials and different things, and I think that's fine for those who want to do that, but that's not our objective. Like, our objective is to just walk alongside people as they go through their healing journey, and we may never see the end of it. um, I would tell myself that not knowing is still okay. Not having the data that, makes other people comfortable is still okay. Um, that's what I would tell myself. We are successful. Thank y'all so much for listening, and stay connected and give if you feel inclined to do so. But thank you for rocking with the Hummingbird Project for 3 years. And I hope that you'll continue to walk alongside of us. Thank you so much.